I'm starting in a fat loss phase, which means that I'm intentionally trying to get into a calorie deficit because I gained weight recently. I actually gained about 11 pounds, 6 kilos over the past couple of months because I've been intentionally trying to bulk. If you want to learn more about that journey, then you can watch this video here. This is day 10 for me of being in, hopefully, a calorie deficit, lowering the calories of my meals very intentionally. I've been tracking my weights every day and I had my first big dip today. So from 66.1 kgs down to about 65.2. So nearly a kg of loss there. When I actually look at that on the scales, and well, in terms of an average, it's actually less than even a pound itself because my weight has been fluctuating, which is very, very normal, but it's exciting to see there's some change happening. We'll go over what my day looks like and doing some meal prep, and then I'm going to share with you some of the tips that I think are going to be most helpful for you, not to just copy exactly what I'm doing, but to actually start implementing this in your own lifestyle. I'm not really going to change much in terms of my actual day-to-day. I'm just going to be intentionally adding a ton more vegetables and less high calorie food so that I can lower my overall calories. I did talk about in my last video that I am going to be very loosely tracking macros, and there's a few reasons for that. First of all, I want to make sure that I'm actually hitting my protein goals. I don't think that this is necessary for most people, and it is not something that I did in my initial weight loss phase. As I've now built significantly more muscle, I'm pretty darn motivated to actually maintain that. So that's why my protein is higher than it was before. I also want to make sure that I'm eating enough food. At this stage of my journey, I find that it's quite easy for me to skip meals due to just being super busy, so I don't want to do that. And for data purposes, I think it's really cool to be able to say, hey, this is exactly what I'm doing, and really show you how to make some low calorie foods that are still really filling. Have you ever heard the phrase breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and then dinner like a pauper? You can actually lose more fat by front loading your calories in the morning, and I found this incredibly important just for helping with my cravings later at night. I'm going to make some oats now, some kind of quick oats. They really will be fine to eat in, like, I'm going to say like half an hour, even like 10 minutes. I don't like batch prepping my oats, so what I'll typically do is either the night before I'll make them, or if I have forgotten or just didn't, then in the morning I'll make them. Because I use quick oats or like Scotch oats, like the thin oat flakes, they're a bit more processed. It really doesn't take long for them to kind of soak up the moisture. Or I'll just pour boiling water on it and then it's like cooked straight away. I don't even need a microwave or a stove. So I always have a super filling breakfast. I love to do overnight oats because I can mix up the different protein powder that I'm using or the fruit. So I always have variety there, and it's just simple. Every night I just make those oats and then they're there ready in the morning. Breakfast works out to about 630 calories. I use about 80 grams of oats, 280 calories, and then right now I'm having a serving of protein powder, which works out to about 140 calories. I use about 10 grams of flax seeds. Flax is super important for omega-3, so even though they do add quite a bit, I always have them. It's about 50 calories. I use about a cup of soy milk, 200 mils, which is about 75 calories. Frozen fruit, I use about a cup, which works out to about 80 to 100 calories. So a meal like this is about 640 calories, which is a perfect zone to be in for weight loss. And a lot of people think this is high, but then they'll go and have a binge later on. 630 calories for a breakfast is certainly not high, and I'd rather have more of my calories in the morning than I would at lunch or dinner. Coffee is one of the things that I actually look forward to most in the morning, and it's what helps me to get into my office and actually start working rather than sit on the couch and cry. So I'm gonna still be doing that, and my coffee works out to about 130 calories with a cup of light soy milk. I always go for an oil-free version, and then I put a little bit of chocolate powder on top. I'm actually thinking about probably switching that to cinnamon, just because I want to get into a habit of choosing that lower calorie option and just having that as my default. But right now that's totally worth it for me. This is way more frothy than I'd like, but there's just nothing like that first sip of coffee. It's just the best feeling. It really is. Nick does not agree. I really struggle to drink water, so I'm going to fill this up with ice and lemon juice so that I actually drink it. Big drink. So I'm going to take this plus my water, go and do a little bit of work, and then come back in probably half an hour and eat my oats. Cheers. need to clean my office.
2 hours later.
It's like 2 hours later. I'm hungry. Perfect texture. It's very cold. You could warm up if you want. People always ask me, can I warm up overnight oats? I'm like, you do you. If you want to warm it, go for your life. I don't know why I blow in cold summer cold. How about? Yum. I'm gonna enjoy this. My lunch prep I want to make super easy, that I can just grab components and that I've got enough for maybe 3 to 4 days, and the things that I would just make on a rolling prep system, so that when I run out of one, I would just cook up another one. So here I'm just going to put this so that I know that for next time, or for when I get this out. I'm going to go into Chronometer and do this. Just go to like foods, custom recipes. I already have like air fried tofu in here, but I used a little bit less nooch than I thought I would, so just gonna update that and just make sure that I always have that saved. Next, save recipe. Okay. I'm gonna put this on for like 6 minutes. So why am I going to cut the cumin like this instead of cutting it into little pieces like the butternut? Because this is more calorie dense and it's going to shrink down once it's cooked in the oven, and I want to preserve as much of the moisture as I possibly can so that I can feel more full. So I'd rather cook it like this and then cut it after it's cooked, because it's going to retain more of that moisture if I do it this way. It's just purely from a calorie density perspective, so that I can feel more full while I'm dieting. This broccoli came out really well. It's just like lightly kind of steamed, and it means that I don't have to spend time cooking when I come to eat it. And that was like 800 grams, so like nearly 2 pounds. I wouldn't normally steam my broccoli in advance, but it just saves time. Just got back from the gym, and I'm gonna use everything that I cooked yesterday to just really quickly make up a lunch. Put these without the thing because I think it was better. I'm just going to do a bit more, a little bit more until it's crunchy. This meal, by the way, is huge, and I've added a lot of low calorie dense elements in there because I'm needing to kind of offset that, or I'm choosing to offset that with a whole lot more protein, which is typically higher in calories. Pretty good. What I would do next time is add that broccoli just right at the end. Like, the tofu is great, as you can see. Broccoli is a little bit burnt, but the fact that I can eat this much food for 550 calories is pretty insane. I'm actually doing a video next, so definitely subscribe if you want to see, contrasting this meal here with another healthy meal, which is actually over 1,000 calories and about half the amount of food. So if you want to see that and why, then definitely subscribe. Delish. So this entire meal was about 550 calories, plus I have meal prep for the next couple of days. And be aware as well, I will definitely switch out the buttercup for some sweet potato or potato in there. I would highly recommend that if you are not in a final stage of fat loss, whereas you have like more than 10 pounds to lose, you can have more sweet potato. And I would actually recommend it. It would have less of the tofu, less of the extra like protein like pieces that I've added there, and have a ton more potato in it. You're going to be able to hit a similar kind of calorie target by just switching around the ratios of foods that you eat, and it's going to be easier to stay consistent doing this because you will feel more full. This is my biggest gripe, honestly, with showing kind of what I eat in a day or meal plans or anything like that, because your situation is individual to you. If you have a lot of weight to lose, you can eat more calories than me and still lose weight. If you're much older than me and you're shorter and you don't have a lot of weight to lose, then you might have to eat a bit less. What matters is the principles of actually lowering the calories in your meals, and you can see how easy it is to eat double the calories even when you're eating super healthy, which is what we want to avoid. We're gonna make this chili recipe, add a ton of veggies, and I'm gonna be just weighing out every element because it's much easier to do that if you're counting macros. And honestly, just for cooking in general, it's so much easier when you weigh things as opposed to use cups and teaspoons. Let's get started. I'm gonna use a pressure cooker. Some taco mix, and of course Vegeta. 300 grams of cooked quinoa. This is frozen. High pressure, we'll do 3. How good does this look? Let's give it a little stir. Oh. Yum. What I love about a meal like this is that I can serve up myself and I can have some for the next day, or I can have some for dinner the next day, and I can also serve it for my family, which is awesome if you are cooking for more than just one person, which is difficult if you're normally doing typical meal prep. I'm going to serve out 500 grams. Dessert time. I know this probably doesn't look all that appetizing, but honestly, I really like it, and I just need something small to kind of make me feel like I'm having dessert. So I would also have maybe like a decaf coffee or like a little hot chocolate. Definitely has more calories than hot chocolate. Let's give this a taste test. It's kind of like an open top ice cream sandwich cookie. Once I added my dessert, that entire day works out to just over 1900 calories, which for me is actually a weight loss zone because I have been losing weight. This is the most important thing to remember. If you're seeing results over a long enough term, say like 10 days, like I have so far, then you don't need to really change anything because what you're doing is working. If you're having perfect adherence to your diet, but you're still not seeing results, unfortunately, it means that there's something in your system where you're not actually getting into a calorie deficit. And it might just be sneaky calories from oil or eating out or desserts or just not perfect adherence. And I'm not saying you have to be perfectly adherent to still lose weight, but it's one of the things that can mean that it's much harder to get into that zone because high calorie food adds up really quickly. Here's some of the principles that I applied during my 40-pound weight loss that I'm still going to apply in this new phase that were the most beneficial. And the first one is just eating a ton more non-starchy vegetables. I aim to eat about a pound of those per day. I always add as many non-starchy vegetables to my lunch and my dinner as possible. You can see that I added tons of carrot, capsicum, onion to my chili, tomatoes in there with the tinned tomatoes. I'm adding a ton of those non-starchy vegetables. It means that I can eat more food and that I can reduce the calories because they're so flippin' low, like 100 calories per pound. So I keep the calorie density low, and I also aim to eat really filling meals because I know that if I feel deprived and I feel like I'm starving, then I'm much more likely to want to go and have takeout or not stay consistent in my diet. I'm also tracking my data, like my daily weights, taking progress pictures, and making sure that I am actually seeing progress, and then I'll adjust if I need to. If the scale stops moving and I don't actually see it trending down over the course of, say, a week or so, then I'll make some adjustments to my meals. I don't have to go and like throw in the towel because it's not working. I just need to eat a few more vegetables. You'll also notice that I don't cook with oil. And you can see why when you look at the comparison of a 1,100 calorie salad versus a 550 calorie salad, because it's just so much easier to lower your calories if you're not having oil. It's hard enough without adding hundreds of unnecessary calories to your day. This is a very, very short, condensed view of some of the principles that have been most helpful for me, but I actually filmed a video that is coming up next about the 6 things that I think everyone really, really needs to know to consistently, empoweredly, I don't know if that's a word, but know everything that they need to start losing fat and to be consistent with their diet. So if you're interested in knowing more than 90% of the people on the internet and actually being able to do this, then subscribe so you can watch that video next. I'm gonna go eat my dinner and I will see you later. Bye.